Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Staying Young at Heart. My name is Maria Mera. I'm your host, and I'm also the a financial advisor with Edward Jones. My guest today is Carlos Acevedo. He's from Guatemala, born in Guatemala. He's an artist. He's the owner of Ceiba House, and he's also a vice president of one of the BNI groups in Honolulu. Welcome, Carlos. Thank you very much for joining us.
Aloha, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Maria.
My pleasure. So I would like to start with Ceiba House. We're not gonna run out of things to talk about with you, but tell us a little bit what it is and how did you start this project?
Sure. Thank you. So Ceiba House is so I'm a freelance graphic designer and creative director. And what I do with Ceiba House is I help small businesses upgrade their branding and their presentation online with their marketing and advertising materials, so that it just kind of gives their business a better presentation. So I help them
Let's.
graphic design, web design, style guides, different creative services like that.
I'd like to show a little video that it says it all more than just with words. Um, I love the music and I love your work. I can recognize all the places in Hawaii. Tell me a little bit about when did you arrive to Hawaii?
Sure. So I got to Hawaii about a little over 2 years ago, and
Oh,
I had lived in Hawaii in a year back in 2000, like in the early 2000s, and then I had to go back to California where I was raised, and kind of started working over there as a graphic designer. Did a lot of work for some of the movie studios, which is where I got a lot of my experience. And then yeah, it was time for me to come back over here, and it could help small business
so
with that.
did you studied to be a graphic designer, or is that your background?
So yeah, once I fell into the entertainment industry and started doing this work professionally, yeah, you could call it graphic design. But I've just been a lifelong artist. Before I got into the computer, I just drew my whole life, did paintings, and just have always had a creative thumb. So eventually it evolved into into a career, and now I help small businesses and all size businesses with
And and
graphic.
I hear small businesses here in Hawaii are very happy with your work. Tell us a little bit how do you connect with those small businesses and what you do for them?
Sure. So actually, to answer that question, I got to plug my BNI networking group a little bit. Like you mentioned, I'm the vice president for the Action Chapter in Honolulu, and that's a networking group that I joined after my first year here in Hawaii. When I first got to Hawaii, I thought that with the portfolio that I brought from the mainland, that it'd be pretty easy to find work, but making connections was a lot tougher than I thought.
Yeah,
So
Hawaii is not the friendliest place to start a business or to
yeah,
even work here. Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna make you prove it first. So
Yeah.
I was struggling a little bit with it, and then I met what was her name, Mary Despe, and she introduced me to the BNI networking group, and it was
And
just,
just for those who don't even know what BNI means, that's like a business networking international, or
exactly, yeah.
mhm.
So it's a small networking group, and our chapter has 15 members. And what we do
Okay.
is that we meet every week, and we just kind of talk about what we're looking for, what type of service we are looking to provide. And then all of my other 14 members will take what I said and go out and just kind of look to see if they know anybody in their sphere that can use these services. And then they'll refer me over to them, and vice versa, right? I have all 14 of them that I hear what they're looking for. And then if I hear anybody or if I talk to anybody that can use those services, then I refer them out. So it's really great. Honestly, that's how I ended up finding a lot of my clients and was able to stay on the island. So yeah, it's a really resourceful network that, yeah, just worked wonders for
So
me.
can you share with us some of your clients?
Sure. So in my specific network, I've helped a few of our members. To give you an example, for one of them was Samantha Kaawa. She's a life coach. Um, and she has a really good program. She's really knowledgeable, but her presentation online was a little under par, right? And I don't mean that to sound offensive. What I mean is her product is at this level. Where's my hand at? Her product could be at this level, and but her branding and her logo may be down here, right? So all I do is I help elevate their creative so that it matches their product, and then people can make that judgment on them, right? Because I know the expression exists, don't judge a book by its cover, but the reason that exists
Yeah,
is because we do that, right? People
we're
judge,
human.
they look at your
Yeah.
logo, they look at your website, and then they assume how good your product is going to be based off of that. So that's what I like to help do, just kind of elevate that for them.
Okay, so you help with the branding and the logo and the web design as well, or?
Web design, style guides, photo shoots. If they need video promos, I can help them with that as well. But yeah, just kind of
Okay.
bring their whole brand into so this is really important, right? So creating style guides is really important in that process of building websites and logos and everything else they're going to need. And it's just kind of a Bible. We decide on a color palette that goes towards, like, matches their business. We'll design a nice logo, and then just guidelines on how to use those logos, how to use those colors, how to use fonts. Right, we'll create a font family, some background images, and then that's just an asset library that you use in all of your marketing collateral so that it's consistent, right? If someone sees one of your ads and then they see a second ad the following week, you want
Mhm.
there to be some cohesiveness so that you
Yeah.
can make that relation, right? And then over time, that's really what you're trying to do with branding, right? It's just kind of like brainwash a customer to thinking about
So
you
is
and they need
is
more.
it is it branding working really well these days, or do they have to do marketing campaigns more like specific and with discounts, or is just branding working?
Um, So your question is if branding is different than marketing campaigns?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, and I've been in this business as well, so I've never been a believer of just branding, depending on the brand, obviously. But for small businesses, brand seems like it's really not going to reach people, and because how do they know how to look for the life coach?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So yeah, so there's many branches to marketing, right? There's
Hmm.
SEO marketing, there's lead generation, there's creative campaigns and marketing. So that's more of what I help my clients with.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so we'll take those style guides, we'll create a brand style guide for them, and then we'll start creating marketing collateral. So to give you an
So
example,
just to clarify, so you help with the marketing collateral as well.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that would include social media, print, any what else are you doing for them?
Yes, it could be, if it's digital, it could be social media posts, right? It could be video graphics. If it's print, then it could be direct mailers, right? That's another important reason. This is something that everyone understands, right? When you go check your mail, how much junk mail do you get, right? And you pretty much you throw away all of it unless there's one that stands out, right? And normally that's going to happen because it's an appealing graphic. The copy is not neat and easy to read, and you're able to process that and understand it. Because once it looks like it's too much to take in or it's going to take too long, people are going to throw that away. So that's why it's good to have an aesthetically pleasing ad, so that people will take the time to look at it, right? And then kind of bring those two together is, say if we have a really nicely designed print ad that they get in the mail, right? That matches everything that we created in the style guide. And then that makes them go to the website. When you let the website, you want to see the same thing, right? You want to see complementary fonts, complementary colors, complementary images. So that's an example of how we'll take a campaign, or we'll take a brand, create a campaign with it, and then leverage it out among different media outlets, right? And again, that could be digital, it could be print, be sky's the limit.
How do you measure the results?
So as far as results go, for me, it goes just once the presentation is better and it looks nicer, then I work with SEO. I have some people that I work with, and they do SEO or lead generation, right? And we'll A/B test images. So say we'll have an old graphic that they were using before they worked with me, and then we'll have a new graphic that they used after they started working with me, and then we'll send both of them out, and we'll watch their performance. We'll see which one performs better. And it's really quickly, you can see that the old graphic, before we designed it and made it nice, people just kind of skim through it. But once we make it a little bit nicer, then people engage with it. And then it's up to the client to just kind of close that sell, right? Our job is to make sure that people know you're there and pay attention and are interested in your product. And then the product and the owner of the business kind of bring it home.
Yeah, they have to follow the leads and just follow how many people they get calls from or they close.
Right.
Okay. What other businesses? Tell me more. What other businesses have you helped?
Sure. So Velour Flooring is another business that I just finished working with. Finished doing their logo, and we're about to start doing their website and style guide for them as well. What they do is so Velour, they merged the two words vinyl and flooring. So they put those two words together and they came up with Velour Flooring. They're here in Kaka'ako. That's a company I'm working with right now. Yeah, they're really great. They're really passionate about their flooring. They have a lot of eco-friendly products, and that's a business that I'm helping with right now.
And this is all coming from your BNI group?
Yes.
Yeah. How often does the BNI group get together?
We meet every Tuesday. So our chapter meets every Tuesday, but there's different chapters around the island, but yeah, we meet weekly.
Did you do this previously in LA?
No, I found out about BNI once I got here.
Okay, so you cannot compare how the BNI group is working here versus anywhere else in the island or in the mainland. Sorry.
No, I don't have that experience with how it works.
Okay. What would you recommend to businesses? Would you recommend them to join BNI or?
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking for if what you're looking for is more referrals and more business, like I said before, when I was hunting on my own, I was just kind of going business to business, trying to see if anybody would be interested in the service. But it's a lot harder when they don't know who you are, right? You're just a salesman to them. But again, I have these 15 members in my group that they know other business owners and they have a rapport with these business owners. So when it comes from someone like them saying, hey, you know what, I know this guy, he's really helped me out, that's just so much more valuable and more effective than me walking into a random business and just kind of giving them my pitch.
Yeah, always referrals, definitely, for being on both sides, right? You want someone that you can trust. But there are some restrictions for the BNI groups. Like, are there any other artists like you as well, or there is some sort of exclusivity?
So it's each seat or classification, your profession is exclusive to your chapter. So in a different chapter, you may find another graphic designer or advertising person, but in my chapter, that seat is reserved just for me, right? So they won't bring in any other graphic designer. That way, all those referrals just kind of come my way. If there is another graphic designer that comes to our chapter and is interested, we don't just shut them out though. We do look for other chapters. I think we have 8 chapters on this island. So we'll look for other chapters where they might be able to fit so that, yeah, again, it helps them. And yeah, so that's just how it works for me. But everyone else is the same thing, right? If we have one real estate person, then that's it. We won't accept another one, but we will help you place you in a different chapter if you are interested in it.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is a good place to take a little break for 1 minute, and we'll be right back with Carlos Acevedo from Ceiba House. Welcome back. We are talking to Carlos Acevedo from Ceiba House, and we are staying young at heart today with our creativity. We have a question from one of the viewers, and I'm just gonna read it to you. I have a hard time picking colors for graphic design. Any tips? And he follows up by, do you consider the color psychology when you pick colors for brands?
Great question. Yeah. So very important. Yeah, color psychology is very important when it comes to brands. When I was getting my education in art, I had to take a color theory class, right? And color theory is essentially color psychology, but different people may react to things in different ways. So we can't call them laws, so they call them color theory. But every color does have an association, right? Every color in the spectrum also has a complementary color. So to give you an example, if you look at a color wheel, the color directly across from the color you're looking at is going to be its complementary color. So the basic ones, red and green, are complementary colors. No other color is going to pair as good next to red than green is, right? And each color has its complement. So when you are thinking about how to choose colors, what you want to do is first look at the color. You can do simple research like color association, right? With color moods. And then depending on what your business is, right? Say if you're selling plants, you may want to, the obvious color to pick would say something more neutral, right? You want to choose something a green or a blue. You're not going to want to go with a red if you're selling plants. But first start with, color associations, see what moods they bring out in people. And then you pick your first color, right? Obviously make sure that you like it. And then from there, then you can start picking a complementary color. And once you have those two pairs, then you can start to build from there. But it's always good, yes, to pay attention to the color associations, right? Different colors have different moods. And I'll give you a Snapple fact that I learned in one of my color theory classes is that every time you see the color red, your brain shoots a small boost of adrenaline into your system. And it's really minute. It's not enough for us to feel, but colors do affect us that way. So that's why you end up seeing that a lot in sports, right? If you see a red jersey, it's like it's really intense. And
have you seen our I didn't mean to interrupt you, our ThinkTech Hawaii logo? So give us a little bit of your opinion with that. Are those matching colors or?
So what we would call this one, this is and so again, we're talking color psychology, right? And color theory. So what these colors here give you is, and it depends in different parts of the world, but these are very American colors, right? So people see like you see superheroes painted in these colors, right? Something that wants to show strength. Another way that we were talking about American colors, right? Kind of an American color scheme. Just to give you another example of how people use it in advertising, when you think about the different types of races that buy, say, we're going to talk alcoholic beverages like beers, right? So say like may drink a lot of Coronas or different types of beer, but when you think about like the white demographic, right? A lot of their beers that they buy, they'll buy them like Budweiser, Bud Light, and a lot of these beers are red, white, and blue. So when you're branding something, you really want to consider who your demographic is. First, consider it has to fit your brand, but then you also want to consider who am I selling to? And then depending on who you're selling to, you want to make it attractive to them. Right?
That's very interesting. So tell me about Ceiba House. Why Ceiba, and what is Ceiba to begin with?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. So Ceiba House. So I'm from, like you mentioned before, I'm from Guatemala. I was born in Guatemala. And in Guatemala, the Ceiba is the national tree of Guatemala. It's one of the tallest trees in the world, and the ancient Mayan revered it for its height. They thought that if you climb to the top of the Ceiba tree, that's the closest you could get to the god. So what I like to say is that if you work with Ceiba House, I will elevate your branding to those heights.
I like that. So is that just in Guatemala, or is it North South American tree, or?
So it's native to Central America and certain parts of Africa.
Okay, I wish I'm going to have to do the research to see the picture of the Ceiba tree. What about for people? Do you also look into what that personality of the owner of the business? Do you look at that, following the question of our viewer? Do you look at the psychology of the owner?
Definitely, yeah. We look at everything before we start a logo. I have a questionnaire of on a different questionnaires for different type of businesses. But yes, I definitely I start with the 5 Ws, right? I learned this in school as far as like when you're gonna write something, but it's pretty good outline that services that has functions well in this creative when you're doing creative research, which is who, what, when, why, and where, right? Who are you? What are you, or what do you do? Where do you do it? Why do you do it? And who do you do it for? And we knock out a lot of those questions. And once you answer those questions, and a lot of times I'll ask the client to answer that question in each question in 3 different ways. And then once I have all those answers, then I can start to kind of just analyze it and move it around. And then I take that and I'll spend maybe a week doing a research on your competitors, right? I'll see what you do and I see who else is doing that. And after a week, I'll have a list of who's doing it right and who's doing it wrong. And which is also as important. A lot of times you just look at who's doing it right, but when you look at who's doing it wrong, it's also a shortcut to find out what not to do, right? They already made the mistake, let's not do it ourselves. So yes, it's a lot of questions about finding out the essence of the business, the essence of the business owner, what their philosophies are, why they want to do it. And then I take that with the research for their competitors and then just kind of help them bring it to the top.
And I love already hearing your voice, because I can hear the passion. I guess it's the Latin passion added to that you love what you do, passion. Do you find yourself like maybe the professional mistake of, or not mistake, but just the professional, for lack of a better word, that you go when you're going through the streets and you look at the logos of the companies or wherever you are, that you're just looking at the branding or the websites and just criticizing from your point of view?
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, people hate watching TV with me because
I bet, yeah.
I'll look at all the I'll look at the commercial. I'll look at, you know what, maybe it would have been better if they did this or if they did that. And honestly, to give you a little longer answer to that, that is really how it kind of landed to where I'm at now. My whole life, when I was little and I would watch TV, I would either like a commercial or I wouldn't like it, and I didn't understand why. And then once I got educated in design, I understood like, okay, those commercials were using complementary colors. These weren't. these were using good fonts, these weren't. And just a lifetime of just kind of having a sixth sense for why I like something and why I don't like it now really helps me understand. So it really helps me as far as like when I'm trying to execute something, because I have a library in my brain of things that I don't like and haven't worked. So it helps.
It's too much, yeah. So is Hawaii home for you now, or do you is where you find your best work here?
Uh, yes. A lot. No. Well, my best work was done in the entertainment industry. Obviously, when you're working for movies, they have a lot bigger budgets,
Mm.
bigger stars. So obviously, that could be a little bit better. But the reason Hawaii is home for me now is that when I was working in the studios, so like you said, right? I love art. It's really my passion. But when I was doing it in that for them over there, it was just kind of it's it's a never ending cycle. So it's easy to get burned out as
Yeah.
opposed to when I work with a small business, right? If I'm helping a small business, this person has put everything into their business, their blood, sweat, and tears. So when we create something and we finish it and they see that, oh my God, you took into consideration everything that we talked about, they love it, right? And you can just really see it. They're really appreciative of it. And that just gives me so much more job satisfaction, right? And
Mhm.
that type of job satisfaction is what makes me feel that I'm in the right place doing it for the right people.
Yeah, you're personalizing, and I can relate that from my own work. You just personalize that advice, and it makes it so much more special. Um, okay, Carlos, anything else that you want to close with? Maybe just saying your information or any wise words to our audience.
Sure. Yeah. So you can view more of my work at CeibaHouse.com. If you're a small business that can use referrals, you should definitely you can email me at carlos@CeibaHouse.com, and I'll try to I'll send you an invitation to our BNI network. These BNI networks just like I said really work wonders. If it wasn't for for the me joining that network, I maybe would have had to go back home because it was a little hard to find business. So BNI has been really great. If you are interested in upgrading your presentation or just want to hear a consultation about how art can help upgrade your presentation for your brand, yeah, reach out to me at carlos@ceibahouse.com. And yeah, I think that's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We love your work and good luck with everything. And thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much, Maria.
Aloha, everyone, and we'll see you in a couple of Tuesdays with our next So Staying Young at Heart. Aloha.